3 years after a deadly shooting inside a busy nightclub, the suspected gunman is finally facing charges. Zanton Horton is charged with the criminal homicide of Brian Amos. The chaos after the shooting inside the Bentley's House of Soul in Nashville was caught on security cameras back in 2011. Horton is already behind bars in Dixon County for an unrelated crime.
Two men recovering this morning after a couple of separate shootings in Clarksville, only miles and about 30 minutes apart. News Channel 5's Matthew Torres has been working this story for us. He's in the studio at the smart screen. So they're not saying these are related, right?
Well, they are being investigated as separate shootings. One happened on Ernest Shelton Drive, and just 30 minutes before, there was the other shooting near the Bel Air Park area. This one happening around 10:30 p.m. This is where witnesses say they heard multiple gunshots and then vehicles leaving the area. Police discovered the shooting actually took place in the 800 block of Peachers Mill Road in the convenience store parking lot. Sometime later, they say a victim showed up at the hospital with a gunshot wound. He was interviewed by a detective but refused to cooperate and really didn't give much information. And just before 11, a second person was shot several times on Ernest Shelton Drive. Officers found a car covered with bullet holes, but the victim lived. A relative took him to the hospital and was later airlifted to Vanderbilt. His injuries are not thought to be life-threatening. He told police he did not know the shooter. This word, no word on the motive on that shooting, and really no arrests have been made as far as both shootings. If you have information with any of these incidents, call Clarksville Police. That number is 931-648-0656. Steve and Amy.
All right. Matthew, thanks for the update. Also in Clarksville, an 18-year-old alive this morning after falling 60 feet from a cliff. The Leaf Chronicle posted a picture of the rescue. We're told that teenager hiking at Queens Bluff, that's off Bubba Johnson Memorial Highway yesterday. He apparently lost his footing and went all the way down by the Cumberland River. So that's why the crews are in the boat right there. It's easier to get to him that way. He went to the hospital. He should be all right, and he's very fortunate.
And he is accused of killing 2 people, then setting their home on fire. And 1 day later, News Channel 5 cameras caught him returning to the crime scene.
What's going on? What happened?
In this exclusive video, Kenneth Niles is apparently seen as an emotional family member who had just gotten some awful news. However, TBI says Niles was the one who shot and killed his cousin, John Chris Goldtrap, and Chris's girlfriend, Lisa McDonald, back in April. We're told Niles then came back the next day, stole some stuff from the home before setting it on fire. Niles was indicted on several charges yesterday, including murder and arson. And in a bizarre twist, 2 other men were indicted for apparently trying to cash in on the victim's family's grief. Jamie Donegan and Joshua Pickering, pictured here, are facing charges in connection to a murder for hire scheme. Investigators say Donegan told the family that they could pay him to kill the person responsible for that double murder. Pickering then pretended to be the murderer and called the family to confess. Neither man appears to have a connection to the victims or the suspect. He was arrested for drunkenly waving a machete around his front yard, but this morning he's facing more charges. Cuthbert Langley at Metro Jail with that arrest warrant this morning. So Cuthbert officers noticed something else, they say, while they were taking him into custody.
Amy, they did. Not only did neighbors call 911 after seeing 54-year-old Richard Lever supposedly throwing a machete of all things up in his front yard, but as officers were leaving the area after arresting this man, they realized Lever could be connected to another crime. Here's how it all happened. Neighbors called police yesterday after they saw Lever throwing the machete in his front yard on Maplehurst Avenue right near Lipscomb University. Police came. They were in the process of arresting him and putting him in the back of a patrol car. That's when an officer recognized Lever's truck and the damage done to the truck as well. Supposedly, it had been involved in a hit-and-run accident moments before. So officers brought the man to Powell Avenue, where a victim of that hit-and-run still was there. That victim recognized Lever because he had a tattoo on his arm, and that victim was easily able to describe Lever's truck. When police tried to ask the man about all of this, not only did Lever refuse to answer any questions or do any sobriety tests, he supposedly began cussing at officers as well. When police tried to get him to do a blood test, take him to the hospital to do a blood test, he refused, saying that was admitting that he did something wrong. Officers obviously were eventually able to get that blood test in fact, proved that Lever was drunk. They brought him here to the Metro Jail, where he still sits this morning on several charges, not only public intoxication and DUI, but also leaving the scene of an accident. His bond has been set at $30,000. We're live at the Metro Jail this morning. I'm Cuthbert Langley, News Channel 5 HD.
Cuthbert, thank you. And a sad story out of Murray County this morning, Columbia. A 5-year-old boy died after being found in a neighbor's swimming pool. The child's mom quickly dialed 911 yesterday morning, saying her son was missing from the home on Burlington Circle. Shortly thereafter, the boy was found unconscious in a neighbor's fenced-in pool. First responders unable to revive him. Detectives say that death appears to be an accident. New information about a deadly plane crash in Lincoln County a few weeks back. The NTSB says it did not find any mechanical problems. Linda Baumann was killed after the Cessna went down May 3rd. Investigators are still trying to find out what caused that crash.